Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every person's life when they must confront the most dangerous enemy they'll ever face. It's not the doubters, the critics, or the circumstances stacked against them. No, the real enemy lives within, the weak version of yourself. The one that whispers, "You can't." The one that clings to excuses, wallows in fear, and finds comfort in mediocrity. But today I'm here to tell you this. It's time to kill that version of yourself. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right here, right now. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you truly looked in the mirror? Not to fix your hair, not to straighten your tie, but to really look at yourself, at the person you are today. Most people avoid that kind of confrontation because it's uncomfortable. It's hard to face the reality of who you've become when deep down you know you could be so much more. Because you know. But if you want to kill the weak version of yourself, if you want to overcome negative feelings and rise into your full potential, the first step is to face the mirror and confront yourself. Here's the truth. You cannot change what you are unwilling to acknowledge. We live in a world where it's so easy to point fingers, to blame circumstances or to blame other people for why we are not where we want to be. But let me tell you something. True growth begins the moment you take responsibility for your life. The weak version of yourself thrives on excuses. It loves when you say, "It's not my fault," or "I'll do it later," because every excuse strengthens its grip on your life. But the strongest version of yourself, the one that's capable of achieving greatness, is born when you stand in front of that mirror, look yourself in the eye and say, "Enough is enough. I am the problem and I am the solution." This is not about self-pity or beating yourself up. It's about being honest. It's about asking yourself the hard questions. Am I showing up as my best self, or am I settling for less? Am I using my time, my energy, and my talents to move toward my goals? Or am I wasting them on distractions and excuses? Am I building my life on discipline, focus, and self-belief? Or am I letting fear and negativity run the show? You see, when you face the mirror, you start to realize that all those negative feelings, the fear, the self-doubt, the anger, the frustration, are not external forces. They come from within. They're rooted in the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. And that story, that's something you can change. But here's the catch. Change doesn't happen without discomfort. When you look in the mirror and confront yourself, you might not like what you see. You'll see the missed opportunities, the wasted potential, and the compromises you've made with yourself. That's hard to swallow, but don't let it discourage you. Let it fuel you. Because when you acknowledge where you've fallen short, you give yourself the power to rise. This is where courage comes in. It takes courage to admit that you've been playing small. It takes courage to stop blaming others and take full responsibility for your life. And it takes courage to decide right here and now that you're not going to let the weak version of yourself dictate your future. When you look in the mirror and confront yourself, you're not just identifying the problem, you're declaring war on it. You're saying to yourself, "This is who I've been, but it's not who I'm going to be." And once you make that declaration, something incredible happens. You begin to see possibilities where you once saw limitations. You begin to see opportunities to grow, to learn, to become better. But here's the thing. The mirror doesn't lie. It shows you who you are, but it also shows you who you can become. And that's the person you need to keep your eyes on. That's the version of yourself you're fighting for. So the next time you stand in front of the mirror, don't avoid it. Don't look away. Look yourself in the eye and say, "I'm not here to settle. I'm here to grow. I'm here to evolve, and I'm here to win. Huh? Because when you face the mirror and confront yourself, you take the first and most important step toward killing that weak version of yourself. You take control of your life. You stop living as a victim of your circumstances and start living as the author of your destiny. And that, my friends, is where transformation begins. Weakness doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It is fed every single day by the choices we make. Every excuse, every time you choose comfort over growth, every time you let fear or doubt dictate your actions, you're feeding that weak version of yourself. And the more you feed it, the stronger it becomes. But here's the good news. You can starve that weakness. You can cut off its supply line and watch it wither away. How? By redirecting your energy and focus to feed your strength instead. Now, let's go to the ladies' lounge. Ready? Go. You see, what you focus on grows. If you spend your time and energy obsessing over your fears, your failures, and your insecurities, those things will dominate your life. But if you pour that same time and energy into building your confidence, your discipline, and your positive habits, you'll watch your life transform. It's really that simple. The question is, are you willing to make that shift? Let's be real. Feeding your strengths is not always easy. It requires discipline. It requires self-awareness. It requires the ability to say no to the things that drain you, even when they feel good in the moment. Weakness thrives on instant gratification. It loves when you choose the comfort of the couch over the challenge of the gym. It loves when you scroll on your phone instead of working on your goals. Now, it loves when you dwell on what you can't do instead of focusing on what you can. But here's the truth. The strongest version of yourself is built through discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you push past the urge to quit. When you silence that voice in your head that says, I can't. And when you do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. That's how you starve your weakness. You stop giving it power. It's not just about what you say no to, though. It's also about what you say yes to. Say yes to the habits that strengthen you. Say yes to the routines that build your discipline and focus. Say yes to surrounding yourself with people who challenge and inspire you instead of those who drain your energy or encourage your bad habits. Feeding your strengths also means celebrating the small wins. Every time you show up for yourself, every time you stick to a promise you made, you're feeding the strongest version of who you are. Those small wins add up. They build momentum. And that momentum makes it easier to keep going, even when it gets tough. Let's talk about mindset for a moment. Weakness thrives in a negative mindset. It loves when you focus on what's wrong, what's missing, and what's holding you back. But you can flip the script. Feed your mind with positivity, with gratitude, with affirmations of your own potential. It might feel strange at first. You might not believe it right away. But the more you tell yourself, I can do this, I am capable, I am strong, the more those words start to take root. Starving your weakness also means cutting off the toxic thoughts and habits that keep you stuck. It means identifying the things in your life that drain your energy and eliminating them one by one. Maybe it's the endless hours of social media. Maybe it's the negative self-talk. Maybe it's the people in your life who constantly bring you down. Whatever it is, you have the power to let it go. And when you do, you create space to feed what makes you stronger. The key is to be intentional. Weakness doesn't disappear by accident. It fades because you make a conscious decision to stop feeding it And strength doesn't grow overnight. It grows because you nurture it every single day. You show up, you do the work, you stay consistent. So here's the challenge. Take inventory of your life. What are you feeding? Are you giving your time, energy, and attention to the things that make you stronger? Are you still feeding the excuses, the distractions, and the doubts that hold you back? Because at the end of the day, you get to choose. You can choose to feed your potential, or you can choose to feed your limitations. When you choose to feed your strengths, something incredible happens. That weak version of yourself starts to fade. It loses its power. And in its place, a stronger, more confident, more capable version of you begins to rise. So make the choice. Starve your weakness. Feed your strengths. And watch how your life transforms. Your life is a reflection of the story you tell yourself every single day. That story, the mental script running through your mind, is what shapes your decisions, your actions, and ultimately your results. If you've been stuck, if you've been feeling like you can't move forward, it's because that mental script has been holding you hostage. The good news, you have the power to rewrite it. Let's be clear. The script in your mind didn't appear out of nowhere. It was written over time by your experiences, by the things people said to you, and by the beliefs you've internalized. Maybe someone told you that you weren't good enough. Maybe you failed at something and started to believe you'd never succeed. Maybe you've been replaying the same negative thoughts so often that they've become your default setting. But here's the truth. Just because a story has been told doesn't mean it's true. And it definitely doesn't mean it can't be rewritten. The weak version of yourself clings to that old limiting script because it feels safe. It tells you things like, I'm not smart enough, I don't have what it takes, or I'll never get past this. That script feeds your fears and keeps you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and negativity. It's time to take control of that narrative. It's time to become the author of your own story instead of letting the past or other people's opinions define who you are. Rewriting your mental script starts with one powerful realization. You are not your thoughts. Just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it's true. You have the power to question it, to challenge it, and to replace it with something better. The first step is awareness. Pay attention to the thoughts that run through your mind every day. What's the story you've been telling yourself? Are you constantly putting yourself down? Are you replaying past mistakes or failures? Are you focusing on what you can't do instead of what you can? You can't change a script you're not aware of, so you have to start by identifying the patterns. Once you've identified the negative narrative, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this fact, or is it just something I've come to believe over time? Most of the time, you'll find that those limiting beliefs are just opinions. Stories you've been telling yourself for so long that they feel like the truth. But they're not. They're simply thoughts, and thoughts can be rewritten. Now comes the most important part, replacing that old script with a new one. This is where you start to create the mental framework for the strongest version of yourself. Instead of saying, I can't do this, start saying, I'm learning how to do this. Instead of thinking, I always fail, replace it with, every setback is a setup for a comeback. These shifts might feel small, but they're incredibly powerful. Over time, they rewire your brain and reshape how you see yourself and the world around you. It's not enough to just think these new thoughts once or twice. Rewriting your mental script requires repetition. Just like the old story became ingrained through constant repetition, the new story needs to be reinforced daily. Write it down, say it out loud, visualize it. Make it a habit to feed your mind with positive, empowering thoughts. And when the old script tries to creep back in, and it will, you have to shut it down. Don't entertain it. Don't give it power. Remind yourself that you've moved on, that you're writing a new chapter, and that the weak version of yourself no longer has a say in how your story unfolds. And then, rewriting your mental script also means surrounding yourself with the right influences. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, and the environment you create all play a role in shaping your thoughts. If you're surrounded by negativity, it's going to be a lot harder to rewrite that script. But if you fill your life with positivity, inspiration, and people who believe in your potential, it becomes much easier to reinforce the new narrative. This process won't happen overnight. Rewriting your mental script is a daily commitment. There will be times when you slip back into old patterns, and that's okay. The important thing is to catch yourself, refocus, and keep moving forward. Remember this: the story you tell yourself will determine the life you live. If you want to kill the weak version of yourself and step into your full potential, it starts in your mind. Rewrite the script. Make it one of strength, resilience, and possibility. And then live it every single day, because you have the pen in your hand and your story isn't over yet. Pain is one of life's greatest equalizers. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, pain finds its way into your life. It shows up in different forms: loss, failure, rejection, disappointments. Sometimes it feels like it's breaking you, like it's too much to bear. But let me tell you something. Pain isn't here to destroy you. It's here to teach you, to shape you, to strengthen you. And if you're willing to face it, embrace it, and use it, you can turn your pain into power. Most people run from pain. They numb it, avoid it, or bury it deep inside, hoping it will just disappear. But pain doesn't work like that. When you try to suppress it, it festers, it grows. It shows up in ways you don't even realize. Through anger, fear, or self-doubt. That's the weak version of yourself holding on to the pain, letting it control you and keeping you stuck. But here's the thing. Pain is also the birthplace of transformation. The strongest version of yourself is forged in the fire of adversity. To turn pain into power, the first step is to stop running from it. Instead, face it head on. Acknowledge it. Feel it. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but avoiding it only prolongs the suffering. When you confront your pain, you take back control. You're no longer a victim of it. Instead, you become the one who decides what to do with it. Think about this. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has faced pain. They faced failures, heartbreaks, and struggles. The difference is they didn't let that pain define them. They let it drive them. They took the lessons from their pain and used it as fuel to push forward. That's the choice you have to make. Will your pain be the reason you give up, or will it be the reason you rise? Pain is a teacher. It reveals your weaknesses, your fears, and your limits. But it also shows you your strength. It teaches you what you're capable of enduring. It forces you to grow, to adapt, to become more than you were before. Every time you face pain and refuse to let it break you, you're building resilience. You're proving to yourself that you're stronger than you think. Turning pain into power is about shifting your perspective. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me, ask, what can I learn from this? How can this make me better? When you reframe your pain as an opportunity for growth, you take away its power to hurt you. You turn it into a tool for your transformation. But it's not just about learning from pain, it's about using it. Let your pain fuel your purpose. Let it remind you of what you've been through and why you're fighting to move forward. If you've experienced failure, let it motivate you to work harder. If you've been rejected, let it push you to prove to yourself that you are worthy. If you've been hurt, let it inspire you to heal and to grow into someone even stronger. Pain also gives you empathy. It connects you to others who are struggling. It reminds you that you're not alone. That struggle is universal. And when you use your pain to lift others, to inspire them, to show them what's possible, that's where true power lies. Your pain becomes your story, your testimony, your proof that you can overcome anything. Remember this, the pain you feel today is not permanent. It's temporary. It's a chapter in your story, not the whole book. And while you can't always control what happens to you, you can control how you respond to it. You can choose to let it break you, or you can choose to let it build you. So when life knocks you down, don't stay there. Get back up. Look at your pain and say, you don't control me. You don't define me. I will use you to become stronger, wiser, and better than I've ever been. Because pain, when harnessed correctly, isn't a weakness, it's a superpower. Turning pain into power is one of the greatest transformations you'll ever experience. It's not easy. It takes courage, determination, and a willingness to confront the darkest parts of yourself. But when you do, you'll discover that your pain wasn't here to destroy you. It was here to awaken you to your potential. It was here to remind you of how strong you truly are. The strongest version of yourself is waiting on the other side of that pain. So don't run from it. Embrace it. Learn from it. Use it. And let it fuel your rise to greatness. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your life. They influence the way you think, the way you see yourself, and the way you approach your goals. If you want to kill the weak version of yourself and unleash your full potential, you must be intentional about who you allow into your inner circle. Surround yourself with builders, not breakers. People who lift you up, not those who tear you down. Right? You've heard it before. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not just a catchy phrase. It's a powerful truth. The energy, mindset, and habits of the people around you will either push you toward greatness or pull you deeper into mediocrity. Breakers are the ones who drain your energy, who fill your mind with doubt, who discourage your dreams because they can't see beyond their own limitations. Builders, on the other hand, are the ones who inspire you, who challenge you to grow, who see your potential even when you don't. And that's what makes a difference between a builder and a drill. The weak version of yourself thrives in the company of breakers. Why? Because they validate excuses, enable bad habits, and make you comfortable with staying small. Breakers will tell you why your dreams are impossible, why you're not good enough, why it's safer to play it small. And if you listen to them long enough, you start to believe them. You start to internalize their negativity as your truth. But builders see beyond your current circumstances. They see the fire inside you, even when it's just a spark. They hold you accountable. They push you to be better, and they celebrate your progress. Builders don't let you settle for less because they know you're capable of more. They are the ones who remind you of your strength when you forget, who challenge you when you get complacent, and who cheer you on when you take steps toward your dreams. So how do you identify builders and breakers in your life? Pay attention to how people make you feel. After spending time with someone, do you feel energized or drained? Do you feel inspired to take action or stuck in self-doubt? Builders leave you feeling empowered. They spark ideas, encourage action, and remind you of what's possible. Breakers, on the other hand, leave you questioning yourself, doubting your abilities, and feeling smaller than when you started. Once you've identified the breakers in your life, it's time to make a tough decision. Some relationships, no matter how long they've been in your life, need to be reevaluated. This doesn't mean you have to cut everyone off, but you do need to set boundaries. Protect your energy. Limit your exposure to negativity. You can love someone from a distance while prioritizing your growth and well-being. At the same time, actively seek out builders. Look for people who are already where you want to be. Surround yourself with those who have a growth mindset, who are pursuing their own goals, and who aren't afraid to challenge you. Builders can be mentors, friends, colleagues, or even authors, speakers, and thought leaders whose work inspires you. The point is to fill your world with voices that encourage growth, not stagnation. Being around builders also means being willing to receive constructive criticism. Builders won't always tell you what you want to hear, but they will tell you what you need to hear. They'll hold up a mirror to your weaknesses, not to tear you down, but to help you improve. That's the kind of support that leads to real growth. But here's something else to remember. As you surround yourself with builders, you must also become one. Be the kind of person who uplifts others, who inspires them to believe in their potential, and who celebrates their victories. When you become a builder, you attract other builders into your life. It creates a cycle of support, positivity, and growth that benefits everyone involved. But even if the journey to becoming the strongest version of yourself is not one you take alone, it's a journey that requires the right kind of people by your side. People who believe in you, who push you, and who refuse to let you give up on yourself. Builders are the ones who remind you, even on your hardest days, that you have what it takes to overcome any challenge. So take a look at your circle. Are the people around you building you up or breaking you down? Are they inspiring you to grow or keeping you stuck where you are? Make the choice to surround yourself with builders and watch how your life begins to transform. When you're surrounded by the right people, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Fear and doubt are powerful emotions. They creep into your mind when you're standing on the edge of change, whispering all the reasons you should stay where you are. They tell you that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that you're not ready. And if you listen to them, they will paralyze you. But here's the truth. Fear and doubt are not meant to stop you. They are signals that you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And the only way to grow, the only way to kill the weak version of yourself is to act despite them. Acting despite fear and doubt doesn't mean you won't feel them. It means you won't let them control you. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to move forward in spite of it. The strongest version of yourself isn't the one who has no fear. It's the one who looks fear in the face and takes the next step anyway. Fear is a natural response to uncertainty, to the unknown. It's your mind trying to protect you from perceived danger. But here's the catch. Most of the fear you feel is not about real life-threatening situations. It's fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, things that only have as much power as you give them. Doubt is fear's partner. It thrives on hesitation, feeding you thoughts like, what if I'm not good enough? Or what if I make a mistake? But the only way to silence doubt is through action. When you act despite fear and doubt, you're rewiring your brain. Every time you take a step forward, even if it's small, you're proving to yourself that you can handle discomfort, that you're capable of more than you think. You're building confidence, not by waiting for it to appear, but by creating it through action. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you earn by facing challenges and doing the work, even when you're scared. Think about the times in your life when you were afraid but acted anyway. Maybe it was a difficult conversation you needed to have. Maybe it was taking a leap toward a dream you weren't sure you could achieve. Maybe it was standing up for yourself when it would have been easier to stay silent. Those moments didn't feel easy, did they? But they taught you something. They showed you that you're braver than you thought, that you're stronger than you realized. And each time, you grew a little more. The weak version of yourself wants you to avoid discomfort. It wants you to play it safe, to stay where it's comfortable, where nothing feels risky. But that's not where growth happens. Growth happens when you take a risk, when you step into the unknown, when you embrace the possibility of failure because you know that even failure is a lesson. One of the best ways to act despite fear and doubt is to focus on the process, not the outcome. Fear loves to magnify the what ifs. What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? But when you focus on the process, on taking one step at a time, on doing the best you can in the moment, you take away fear's power. You realize that success isn't about getting everything right. It's about showing up and giving your all no matter what. Another way to overcome fear and doubt is to remember your why. Why are you doing this? What's the vision that's pulling you forward? When your why is strong enough, it becomes greater than your fear. It becomes the fuel that pushes you to act, even when every part of you wants to turn back. And here's a truth that's hard to accept, but life-changing when you do. Fear and doubt never fully go away. No matter how successful you become, no matter how much you grow, there will always be moments when fear and doubt resurface. But the difference between the weak version of yourself and the strongest version is how you respond. The weak version lets fear win. The strongest version acts anyway. Every time you act despite fear and doubt, you're taking back your power. You're proving to yourself that those feelings don't control you. And as you keep moving forward, fear and doubt begin to shrink. They lose their grip on you because you've shown them that you're the one in charge. All right. So the next time fear whispers you can't, respond with action. Take the step, make the call, start the project, show up for yourself. Doubt will try to hold you back, but remember, doubt is just fear in disguise, and neither one gets to decide your future. You do. Acting despite fear and doubt is how you grow into the strongest version of yourself. It's not easy and it's not comfortable, but it's worth it. Because every step you take, every action you commit to, moves you closer to the life you're meant to live. Fear and doubt are a part of the journey, but they don't define it. You do, through your actions, your courage, and your determination to keep moving forward no matter what.